Parents, what's the most adorably pathetic rebellion attempt your kid has made? My 16-year-old daughter Sophie decided she wanted to be a bad girl last summer, and watching her try to be rebellious has been the most unintentionally hilarious thing I've ever witnessed, because this kid is about as naturally wholesome as freshly baked cookies. It started when she tried sneaking out to a party by climbing out her second-story window, but got scared halfway down and hung there for 10 minutes whispering, "Oh no, oh no, oh no," until my husband had to get the ladder and rescue her. She was wearing all black to look tough, but packed a purse with Band-Aids, hand sanitizer, granola bars, and a flashlight, just in case someone gets hurt, which is possibly the most mom-like rebellion supplies ever. The next week, Sophie decided to cut class to hang out with bad kids, but instead went to the library, did extra credit work for 3 hours, then felt so guilty she confessed to her math teacher, who just patted her head and said, "That's nice, dear." Then she tried to throw a house party while we were supposedly out of town, but we came home early and found 12 teenagers sitting in a perfect circle in our living room playing board games, drinking apple juice, and having intense discussions about college applications. Sophie saw us walk in and panicked. "Mom, Dad, this isn't what it looks like. We're being totally rebellious." And I looked around at these kids playing Scrabble and said, "Oh, absolutely terrifying. What's next, Monopoly and hot chocolate?" Her best friend Emma whispered loudly, "Sophie, we told you this was the lamest party ever." And Sophie got defensive. "Hey, we stayed up past 10 p.m. and someone used a curse word. Apparently the curse word was damn." And they all gasped when it happened. The funniest incident was when Sophie decided she was going to get a detention to prove how badass she was. So she went to school planning to cause trouble. But every attempt backfired spectacularly. She tried to be late to class, but ended up helping a lost freshman find his locker and got praised by the principal. She attempted to talk back to a teacher, but when Mrs. Johnson asked her to solve a math problem, Sophie automatically said, "Yes, ma'am," and solved it perfectly. Then realized she'd failed at being disrespectful and actually raised her hand to apologize for her attitude. Sophie tried to start a food fight in the cafeteria, but when she threw her apple, it accidentally hit a kid who was choking, and the Heimlich maneuver motion from getting hit actually dislodged the food, so she ended up being called a hero instead of getting in trouble. Her final attempt was to vandalize school property, so she snuck into the building after hours with spray paint. But instead of graffiti, she painted over some actual graffiti to clean it up, then left a note apologizing for being on school grounds after hours with her full name and phone number. The janitor, Mr. Peterson, found the note the next morning, called the principal laughing, and said, "That sweet Johnson girl cleaned up the mess in the east hallway and left an apology note for trespassing." So instead of detention, Sophie got a thank you certificate. At this point, Sophie was getting desperate, so she decided to dye her hair a shocking color, but she chose pastel pink because she didn't want to look too scary. And when she showed us, my wife said, "Oh, honey, that's gorgeous. It looks like cotton candy." Sophie finally broke down crying and said, "I'm the worst bad girl ever. I can't even get in trouble properly. Everyone just thinks I'm nice." And my husband said, "That's because you are nice and there's nothing wrong with that." We explained that being kind and responsible aren't character flaws, they're strengths. But Sophie said, "All the popular girls are rebels with attitude." Her older brother Jake said, "Sophie, the popular girls literally call you mom friend because you carry first aid supplies and remind everyone to drink water." And Sophie asked, "Wait, that's supposed to be a good thing, right?" We all started laughing, and Jake said, "It's the best thing they trust you because you're genuine." Then Sophie perked up and said, "So being the mom friend is actually badass." Now Sophie calls herself the rebel with a first aid kit.